All right, we're about to jump into the absolutely chaotic beginning of a world that gets hit with nuclear fire and monstrous evolution. I mean, this story goes from zero to apocalypse in like a matter of minutes. So yeah, buckle up. And boom, that's the line that just starts it all. It's from our main guy, John. And the thing is, he's not panicking. He says it with this chilling calm, the kind of calm from a guy who knows exactly what's about to happen. In just one sentence, you get the stakes. It's not if the world is ending, it's what can you possibly do in the next 20 minutes? Okay, so how in the world do we get here? Well, this first part, it's all about those last few, totally normal moments. The calm before a storm that is, and I mean this literally, gonna tear the world apart. We start in a gun store, just a regular day, and then everything just falls apart. So let's meet our two main guys, John and Matthew. And these two, they're not just buddies, they are brothers in arms, both former special ops. John, he's the strategist, the cold, calculating leader whose brain just immediately clicks into survival mode. And then you've got Matthew, his loyal partner, the guy who kind of keeps them grounded, reminds them of their humanity. Honestly, their bond is the absolute bedrock of this entire story. And here's the thing you gotta understand. This world has already been through an apocalypse. Yeah, the whole story is set after World War III already happened, like a decade ago. They rebuilt, they found some kind of fragile peace, but that peace, it gets completely shattered by an EMP blast. That's the first shot of a new war, a silent, invisible one. And that's why John's watch is counting down. They've got 20 minutes till the first nuke hits. And that's when it happens. The lights just go out. Now for you or me, that's an inconvenience, right? But for John, it's a signal. See, the government backup generators, they didn't kick on, and that was the sign. He knew this wasn't just some power outage. The EMP was the prelude, and the generators failing, that was the prearranged signal that the missiles were already flying. It's that eerie, unsettling calm he has that tells Matthew this isn't a blackout, it's the end of everything. So John gives them 3 minutes, just 3. And not to run, not to escape, but to loot. Because he knows in the world that's coming in just a few minutes, the only law is going to be firepower. So in the pitch black, they're just smashing glass cases, throwing everything they can, guns, ammo, into a shopping cart. They've got 180 seconds to arm up for the end of the world. So as they're racing through this city of dead cars, Matthew's first thought, and you can't blame him, is their families. But John makes the cold, hard, calculated call. Trying to get to them, it's a suicide mission. He just knows that being sentimental right now is a death sentence. Their only shot, their only chance is to get to his military-grade bunker. It's just a brutal but totally strategic sacrifice that tells you everything you need to know about John. All right, so the bombs fall, they seal themselves away, but the world they walk out into, it's not the one they left behind. See, the fallout, it didn't just destroy things, oh no, it created them. They waited out for 5 days, just letting the worst of the radiation die down. Then they finally step out of the garage into this silent, ruined neighborhood. But that silence is a total lie. Turns out the nuclear fallout acted like some kind of hyper-accelerant for evolution, and the local wildlife is, well, it's different now. And the very first thing they encounter is this creature they end up calling a slimmer. Imagine a 4-foot-tall raccoon-skunk hybrid, super fast, super aggressive. But that's not even the craziest part. When they finally manage to kill it, its body just dissolves into a pool of acid, an acid that melts a 15-foot hole in the ground. Yeah, this is not just a big raccoon. The fundamental laws of biology are completely out the window. And that leads to this absolutely chilling question for Matthew. I mean, think about it. If a raccoon can turn into a 4-foot-tall acid monster, what happens when that same radiation hits something that was already at the top of the food chain? It's just terrifying foreshadowing for the absolute nightmares that are on their way. And that right there really frames the core problem, doesn't it? Their special ops training, it prepared them for human enemies, for threats you can predict. But how do you fight a monster that dissolves into acid, or giant snakes that hunt like wolves? They basically have to throw out the rulebook and learn how to survive all over again. Okay, so facing this completely hostile new world, John and Matthew figure out pretty quick they can't do this alone. So this next part is all about how their little two-man team starts to grow, right as the monsters around them get even bigger and even crazier. And the way the team comes together is totally organic, just born out of the chaos. First, they find their neighbor Paul, who actually got locked in the garage with them by accident. Then they rescue this guy Jeff, a pet store worker who's being hunted by giant pack-hunting snakes. Yikes. They even run into an old friend, Matt, who's managed to hold down his gun shop. And then, in a huge find, they rescue a group of scientists from the city zoo, and these guys have crucial info on the mutations. Every single person they find adds a new, vital skill to the group. And just take a look at what they're up against. Seriously, this list is like a highlight reel of absolute horrors. We're not just talking about bigger animals. This is rapid, terrifying evolution. A 30-foot-tall grizzly bear, a lion with its spine growing outside its body, an elephant with mouths on the end of its trunks. I mean, come on. Every single new monster is deadlier than the last. So eventually, all of this leads them to a big group of survivors. About 50 of them, all holed up in a convention center. And just like that, John's small, highly trained team suddenly becomes the protectors for this much larger, much more vulnerable community. Talk about pressure. Their responsibilities just got way, way heavier. So with the whole community to protect now and monsters that are getting more dangerous by the day, they need a serious upgrade in the firepower department. And that leads them to their most ambitious, most dangerous mission yet, taking the National Guard Armory. But when they get to the armory, they find something they didn't expect, a new kind of enemy. And it's not animals this time. No, it's humans. Humans who've been grotesquely mutated by the radiation. But they're still intelligent, they're organized, and they're using weapons. The threat has officially evolved from just wild monsters to a full-blown rival faction. So, faced with this new, intelligent enemy, you'd think they might hesitate, right? Nope. Zero hesitation. Matthew's line here just perfectly sums up their attitude. Retreating, not an option. For them, survival means you fight for the resources you need, and you don't care who or what is standing in your way. They have to take that armory. And let me tell you, the payoff is huge. After a seriously brutal fight, working with the last few soldiers left at the armory, they take the whole facility. And what do they get? We're talking 2 M1A2 Abrams tanks, 3 Stryker combat vehicles, a bunch of trucks. This isn't just a weapons upgrade, people. This is the start of their own mobile army. They finally have the power to not just defend themselves, but to actually fight back. And that's really the question that wraps up this whole first part of the story, you know? They've gone from just 2 guys in a dark gun store to leading a small army with tanks. They have the gear now to actually try and carve out a safe zone to protect their people. But the mutated creatures and the humans are getting smarter and more organized every single day. So is all this incredible firepower actually going to be enough? And we're going to end on this line because it just perfectly sums up the whole story. In this completely broken world, hope isn't some feeling you have. Hope is a full magazine. They've got the bullets, they've got the tanks, and they have the will to fight. So what comes next? Well, it looks like an all-out war for the future of whatever's left of the human race.